Midnight Facts for Insomniacs. I just learned something. Oh, I'm having fun now.
I do think that they're very lovable somehow, despite being probably high school bullies. You know, like these are the guys who threw you in the garbage can,
right?
And you were like, okay,
guys, I gotta go to my math homework.
I can't stay mad.
God, I want to throw me in a trash can.
This topic has been on the back burner for a while.
Okay.
And I finally found an excuse to do it. I'm very excited.
Sweet.
Jackasses, the history of daredevils, stuntmen, and professional idiots.
Nice. These are my people.
Do you have any idea what the occasion is?
No.
Oh, I thought you would have seen this. I feel like this would be in your algorithm. This month marks the release of what is being billed as the final Jackass movie.
Oh, shit. Okay, no, I did not know this, but that does make sense. They are getting way too old to hurt themselves anymore.
Yeah. I kind of hoped that was every Jackass movie.
Right.
I'm always like, seriously? We're doing this again?
I've read way too many interviews with Johnny Knoxville where he's like, no, I just can't do a lot of shit anymore. I'm just all broken up. My dick don't work good. Like, yeah, he broke his penis live on TV on a motorcycle show we were doing.
I mean, on a motorcycle show. I'm surprised it wasn't all the times he took kicks directly to the balls.
Well, he's wearing a cup some of those times.
This entire IP is based on penis torture.
Yes.
I think the reason this really needs to end is because there's just a limited number of innovative ways that you can take shots to the nuts.
Yeah.
And they've done them all.
Oh, yeah.
They have covered the gamut of scrotal abuse.
Absolutely. They've invited, MMA fighters. They've done everything they possibly could to damage their wangs, and they've done it.
Do these men have children? None of them should be fertile at this point.
I mean,
how did they pull that off?
I think only between movies 2 and 3. I don't think anyone since 3 and 5 have had any kids, to my knowledge.
Yeah. I mean, I guess supposedly like sitting in hot water, like in a hot tub will, lower your sperm count, but that's temporary. But I feel like enough times that an alligator bites your ball sack, that's the end of your lineage.
Yeah. You can only have so many bites from the, the crocodile snapping turtle or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
No.
And I feel like these guys should not be allowed. I love them. As I said, they're very lovable dudes.
Yeah.
I also think they should not be allowed to reproduce.
If there were a breeding program for humanity, step to the left, friends.
So I'm not even going to lie. I have always enjoyed Jackass.
Okay.
It's a guilty pleasure. I am not proud of it. And if you've watched a lot of Jackass, you've probably asked yourself, like I have, how did we get here? As a species,
yes,
as a civilization, I know how I got there.
Yeah.
I have low entertainment standards.
I think all humans do at their base level. A lot of people get snooty about it, but the first time Thag fell down a rocky hill, and got all fucked up, there were at least a couple cavemen, Neanderthals, just like...
Cavemen specifically, and very specific ones. I think from our perspective, we're like, yes, who would not want to see this? But like, my mom doesn't understand this shit.
Yeah.
You know, there are people who are more civilized than the rest of us. Yeah. Humans have built skyscrapers. We have walked on the moon.
And then we jump off them.
And this is the dichotomy of human nature. On one hand, we're building the skyscrapers. On the other hand, we leap off them and then laugh when we kick each other in the balls.
Yep.
And this is, as you mentioned, this goes back to ancient times. Throughout human history, if you could convince spectators that there was a chance someone might get really, really severely hurt, you could, people buy tickets.
Dude, if you guaranteed people get hurt, fucking public executions were widely attended.
Typically free.
Yep.
That's how much we were excited about watching people get hurt and hurting people.
Yep.
It was like, hey, everybody come. No, don't worry about it. Keep your money.
We got you, fam.
This is for posterity.
Exactly.
And of course, we've covered this before, the long history of humans putting themselves in harm's way as entertainment. You could go back to gladiators.
Yep.
We did a whole episode on gladiatorial combat.
Yep.
And that is one element of the Jackass formula, although it's kind of silly to compare them because combat sports are aspirational.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be impressed. I would propose that Jackass has just as much in common, if not more, with, I can't do the noises, but poking people in the eye. And
whoop, 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 whoop. Yeah, the Stooges.
But that tradition goes back just as far. Hurting people for humor has its roots all the way back in post-antiquity with court jesters and clowns.
Yep.
And you can learn about that in our episode on clowns.
If you're feeling brave.
This is why I'm becoming insufferable as a human.
Yes.
Every conversation I'm in now, I'm like, oh, we have an episode on that.
I hear myself saying that entirely too often during the week. I was like, I'm that dickhead. Okay.
No one should hang out with me in person.
No.
That's even before this podcast, but especially now.
Yeah, it's only gotten worse.
I do think this is really interesting. The evolution of Jackass is a two-legged stool, right? On one side, there's the danger, and on the other side is the humor and just the pure entertainment factor.
Yes.
And a two-legged stool feels like a completely apt metaphor.
Oh, yeah.
Because it is useless and stupid and will inevitably lead to injury.
And yet somehow it doesn't fall down when they do it.
I mean, they fall down quite a bit.
Well, no, they do. But the concept of people watching it, it stays up. I don't know how.
So let's start with the first leg of the stool, the genuine danger, and talk about those precursors. Let's trace back the timeline from Johnny Knoxville through Evel Knievel all the way back to an American idiot in the greatest Green Day tradition known as Sam Patch. Ever heard of him?
No.
So Patch was born in 1799 in Massachusetts and raised in Rhode Island. He spent much of his childhood working in textile mills. And just like many other textile workers, he really, really, really wanted to not be a textile worker.
Okay.
He had other ambitions.
Sure.
Which was just like anything but this.
Right. Oh, God, anything but this. Yes.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So as a boy, he had entertained friends by jumping from increasingly ridiculous heights into rivers and lakes and bodies of water.
Sure, we do this. That's Thursday.
And what started as a pastime eventually became a profession. A relentless need for attention will escalate, and eventually you can make a career out of it.
Can confirm.
Jackasses on TV, Jackasses on podcasts.
Exactly.
It all comes from the same place.
Jackass in band. It's all same.
Yeah. Now, unlike the next couple of guys we'll talk about, who had genuine skills and an aptitude for stunts, Patch just had an iron set of balls, an underdeveloped sense of fear, and probably a death wish.
Okay. Fair.
In 1827, Patch made the leap that launched his career. During a public celebration for the opening of a bridge over the Passaic Falls in New Jersey, he stole the spotlight by jumping 70 feet into the water below. He survived, crowds loved it, and newspapers blasted his name in headlines across the country.
Yeah, I can see that happening. And 70 feet is far, bro. You're getting into that distance where if you don't clench your butt real good, you're going to get killed.
That's funny, because when I heard 70 feet, I was like, that doesn't sound that high. But yeah, like if I'm standing there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so funny how, like, abstractly, I can just minimize someone's accomplishment.
Yeah.
And it's like,
so easy for you.
70 feet. Come on. Don't be a little bitch.
It's only like 8 of me.
It's only something that I would never in my dreams even imagine attempting.
No, you wouldn't even want to be on that bridge in the first place.
I don't even want to watch.
Yeah.
Scare the crap out of me. So Patch would become known as the Jersey Jumper or the Yankee Leaper.
Okay.
And he would soon become known as the former Jersey Jumper and Yankee Leaper when he leapt 125 feet to his death over the high falls of the Genesee River in upstate New York.
Yeesh.
This followed his successful leaps from Niagara Falls, which had only encouraged him to keep escalating.
Oh, yeah.
And like me, he was like, 70 feet? That's nothing. I got this. And just like me, he made terrible decisions in life. And luckily, I'm a coward.
Yeah.
That's been my saving grace throughout life, is just I make terrible decisions and then chicken out.
Yes.
So one of the strangest details of this story, because I was feeling really bad for this guy. He seemed like, I was like rooting for him.
Right.
But then I read this fact. When he was doing the Niagara Falls jump, before he went, he tossed a pet bear cub over the falls to demonstrate survivability.
I'm sorry. Say that again?
I included that just to make you feel a little better about what happened to Patch. Because
I was fine with what happened to Patch. Now I'm glad it happened.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
I was on I'm wishing him the best, and now I'm on the fuck this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do think that Patch is a great example of the kind of desperation for attention that we talked about before. And that's the real theme of this episode. One thing common to all of these guys, they're not risking injury, and in many cases, intentionally achieving injury without an audience.
No.
This is always for attention. This is always to get the biggest audience possible. It's for the likes and subscribes back before there were likes and subscribes.
Right.
And speaking of which, I think we need to talk about some of the guys who actually succeeded at this stuff, the professionals who clearly had a screw loose, but were also actually good at what they did. Because Patch was just an idiot who was willing to throw himself off the highest thing for the most attention. Right. He had no skills.
Yeah.
His only skill was, again, iron balls, which probably helped when he hit the water. Because That's something I worry about. You got to tape that sucker down because you want to hit it like an arrow.
Yeah.
With your feet pointed.
Yes.
But if your feet are pointed, if you're endowed, then you get my point.
Yeah. That's coming right off.
But that's one of the things that I think we forget about Jackass. These guys, a lot of them were professional athletes. These were skateboarders for the most part. Bam Margera was a pro skateboarder before he started doing this. So, some of these guys actually were fairly athletic. Like they went out of their way to make this look as ham-fisted and clumsy as possible.
Right.
But these guys were not roly-poly idiots. There was a lot of thought that went into this, a lot of planning. And the best Daredevils in the world did put a lot of thought into their stunts.
Yeah.
And all of them owe a debt of thanks to one crazy Frenchman called the Great Blondin.
Sure.
Jean-Francois Gravelet, or maybe Gravelet, was born in France in 1824. Some sources said that his parents were acrobats or tightrope walkers. Others said that his father was a soldier, had no gymnastics training, and that the young boy simply became fascinated by tightrope walking after going to a circus, and then he begged his parents to send him to acrobat school. And if they were acrobats, I'm more understanding of that. If you're just a soldier and you're like, yeah, I'm going to just throw my kid into acrobat school and let him high wire walk, maybe the kid was just very annoying.
See, that's the thing. I'm more willing to go with option B. And then there was like, well, it'll give us a week alone with each other.
Or, well, we don't want to kill him.
Do we?
But if he were to not
die.
come back.
Yeah. It would be a short mourning period.
Sometimes you got to go back to the drawing board.
Yep.
Try it out again. And if the next one's not good, back to acrobat school.
You better shape up or you're going to acrobat school like your brother.
Because if you're a good parent, like, encourage different hobbies. Maybe try soccer before you start tempting death.
Yeah.
Either way, what we know is that Jean-Francois' parents sent him off to high-wire gymnastics school when he was 5 years old in Lyon, France, and he immediately excelled. He took to it right away. He began performing publicly as the Little Wonder. This was supposedly after only 6 months of training. It took him 6 months to get to the point where he could perform in front of people.
Holy shit.
It's impressive, sort of. It's believable to me. As you know, I was in a circus when I was younger, and I had no innate talent. I can attest to the fact that kids advance very quickly in acrobatics because they can just keep throwing themselves across the gym with no worry of, no fear whatsoever because there are no consequences.
Yeah, you're made of rubber bands, silly putty, and string.
They are floppy and indestructible. I got probably about 6 months of training. That's what it took when I was younger. If I trained for 6 months now, I might be able to touch my toes.
If I trained for 6 months now, I would probably be dead. I go to the gym twice a week just to keep most of the fat off, but I am not flexible. I'm about as flexible as a cinder block, and I'm definitely not spinning through the air with the greatest of ease. That's not a fucking thing I do.
So Jean-Francois moved to New York City in 1855. He started performing with an acrobatic troupe, but he had bigger ambitions. He soon began promoting his most famous stunt. He would walk on a tightrope 160 feet above Niagara Falls.
Okay.
No net, no harness.
No brain.
No strings attached.
Yep.
Except the string that was attached across Niagara Falls that he was walking on.
Yeah.
And it's not fair to call it a string because it was about 3 inches thick.
Yeah.
That is like... That's a cable. That's almost a beam. I don't know why I'm minimizing that.
Again, it's your thing to just be like, this is not an achievement. I don't give a fuck. And then if we put you on a fucking 3 foot thick cable, even 2 feet above the ground, you'd be like, nah, I ain't fucking doing that. I'm gonna break my arm.
I feel like when I think of this, I imagine basically dental floss.
Right.
But it was an absolute unit of a string.
Yeah. I mean, modern, what are they called? Strap walkers or whatever? Modern people who do this kind of shit, because we have nylon and we have like super strong fabrics and shit like that. So you can get a piece of nylon that's like 1 or 2 inches wide, but it's, a few millimeters thick. And that shit's legit. And they do that shit across massive distances and it's nuts. So I think that's obviously the genius. But back then they didn't have that shit. They're like, I got hemp.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a hemp rope cable beam.
Thing.
I'm going to keep minimizing it. It's not that big of a deal.
Sure.
What's interesting is that for him, this was very easy. Like, he made it out. He actually had to sort of try to make it look scary because he could have just like whistled Dixie the entire time going across.
Which I think would have been equally impressive. They'd have been like, damn.
Oh, he did much more than that.
Okay.
We'll get there. So By this point, Jean-Francois was being billed as the Great Blondin for his yellow hair. And more informally, in interviews and articles, they would just refer to him as Charles Blondin for no discernible reason.
Sweet.
Charles, I guess, just easier for Americans to say than Jean-Francois.
Anglicized.
But not, like, why not just John? It was Jean-Francois. Why not John instead of fucking Charles?
Because it sounds a bit more percussive and American.
There you go.
Shortens to Chuck Blondin, which now sounds like you want to throw him off the cable. I don't know. Or what you'll be when you hit the ground.
So here's a quote from History Today, a description of how it all went down. Quote, he took care to enlist the support of the Niagara Falls Gazette, which at first thought it was a hoax and then decided he was mad but went along anyway. Newspapers all over the country were soon interested. The railway companies added special trains and thousands of spectators assembled to watch. The tightrope was taken across the river in a rowing boat. More than 3 inches thick, it sagged by some 60 feet in the middle, so it had a steep slope. The distance was a little over 1,000 feet. Blondin offered to carry a volunteer on his back, but unsurprisingly, no one stood forward. Bands on both banks played as he began his crossing at 5:15 p.m., and took his time over what he privately considered an easy task. He stopped and lay down for a rest at one point and stood on one leg for a while. The crossing took him a little over 17 minutes. After a pause, he went back across the rope, much faster this time. The feat was reported all over America and in Europe. In several later crossings, Blondin introduced variations. He carried his top-hatted manager across on his back, crossed blindfolded or on stilts or in a gorilla costume, and pushing a wheelbarrow, unquote.
Okay. They were reaching for that last one. They're like, gorilla in a trench coat on with a wheelbarrow. Sure.
No, you want to talk about reaching. So at one point, he carried a stove and he stopped halfway across to make an omelet.
Okay, that's actually legit. Like, that's pretty pimping. That's pretty hard to do.
Oh, really? I feel like they is just so desperate. He could not come up with things to do. He's like, I don't know. I'm kind of hungry. It's hard to come up with more creative activities to accomplish on a tightrope.
160 feet in the air.
At least PG ones.
Yeah, I was already going there. I was like, you need to find a woman who is real good at that shit, too.
From nowadays, there would be other options.
Yeah.
Back then, not
fair.
so much. Yeah. I'd buy a ticket if an omelet was included.
But by the time you got it, it would like 90 people would have touched it and it would have been flying through, like, because it had to go across the rope and then get over to you, cross people handing it over. You're going to get AIDS.
What the fuck?
I don't know. Seems like a great way to get some really nasty. I'm not even a germaphobe, but it just feels like I don't want someone passing me an omelet from a rope in the middle of a rope over Niagara Falls.
So amazingly, this guy lived a long, happy life. I don't know how happy it was, but he didn't die on the freaking rope.
Got it.
He died at home in 1897, only days before his 73rd birthday.
Huh.
He died of diabetes.
Diabetes.
The man had defied imminent danger. He had escaped the icy clutches of death for years, but he couldn't escape cake.
Wow.
It was the omelets.
It was the omelets that did it. Yeah.
No, that's not how diabetes works.
No.
I apologize. That was mean and stupid. He died
Which is kind of our bread and butter.
He died of natural causes.
Yeah.
The legend, however, did not die. Blondin created the modern Daredevil and the template for extreme stunts. All of those base jumpers and free climbers who wear GoPros, you can blame this high-altitude omelet chef.
And I do.
He also unintentionally inspired some of the extreme magicians that we have become familiar with, the David Blaines of the world,
right,
who encase themselves in ice for a week and pee in coffins or whatever. I don't know his life. But
pee in coffins? Why is that one?
Blaine does weird shit. And one of the things is that he said, I saw an interview with him and he was like, I have to like not eat for a long time before my stunts because they're always like constantly filmed and he'll be on, encased in a block of ice for a week or underwater or like buried alive for 5 days. And so he doesn't want to go to the bathroom on camera. So he has to like not eat and drink before his stunts.
Great. So he's also nursing dehydration and like food coma. That's good. No, lack of food coma. Yeah.
If he was magic, he wouldn't have to worry about pooping.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's very funny that he was like, well, I got to worry about this. And I'm like, you're supposed to be a wizard.
No, he calls himself an illusionist. He actually he's legit about that. He's like, no,
okay.
I just do illusions.
If you can't even hide the fact that you're pooping, I don't think you're that great of an illusionist.
Wow. And the minimization has come to a whole new low.
Just keep a straight face, and I won't know.
Nah, I mean, there will be clues. There are context clues.
If he's not naked, I'm not going to know through the TV. You know what I'm saying? We've gone far enough on this. That's enough. Stop.
You started it.
I know, and I'm ending it.
Okay.
So this brings us to a guy who actually straddled the exact line between magician or illusionist and daredevil / stuntman.
Okay.
He's kind of the bridge between those two worlds. And I bet if you think about it, you could guess.
Houdini.
Boom.
Yep.
The man who would become Harry Houdini was born Eric Weiss in Budapest in 1874. I did not know he was Hungarian. Yeah. I also did not know that he was Jewish. His father was a rabbi. 2 years after the child who would become Houdini was born, his father accepted a position as rabbi of a Jewish congregation in Appleton, Wisconsin, and moved to America by himself initially. He just ditched the family. Again, more strategies for coping with annoying children, I think, is the theme of this episode.
Take missionary shit real far.
The rest of the family, however, followed several years later. He couldn't fully escape them.
Damn it.
So close.
Fucking responsibility.
They tracked him down. The rest of the family arrived in Wisconsin in 1878. But things didn't work out as planned. Houdini's father, he struggled with the language barrier, and apparently he battled with his congregation. Never a good idea. And he was dismissed from his position. The family would eventually end up in New York, and by this time they were pretty much broke. They were destitute. Houdini had to leave school and work odd jobs as a young man to support the family. And it seems like his experience with poverty directly led to this relentless desire for fame and fortune. He was obsessed with, well, I guess, obtaining financial security. Obsessed with being able to eat, probably.
I was going to say that sounds more like the latter rather than the former. The former just came with it.
Understandable.
Yeah.
As a young man, he was very athletic, and just like the great Blondin, he pursued gymnastics, eventually performing as a trapeze artist under the moniker the Prince of the Air. Pretty easy thing to declare yourself prince of.
Yeah, not a lot of civil wars or battles over the air.
It's tough to be prince of the land because people will fight you over that.
Yes.
But you can decide to be the air prince just on a whim.
Sure.
I am prince of the wind and ultraviolet light and all things invisible.
Yes.
These are mine.
Mine.
I claim them.
Can't have.
I am the king of my imaginary friends.
You are.
So around this time, he discovered magic, and he began performing as an illusionist with very basic sleight of hand routines under a stage name inspired by the French magician Jean-Eugène Robert Houdin, thus Houdini.
Gotcha.
And with the assistance of his wife, Wilhelmina Beatrice Ronner, who is known as Bess, that was a good choice to shrink it down.
Yeah.
And not use the Wilhelmina part.
No.
What do you call her? Mina? Mina's not bad.
Mina's good.
Wilhelm, not cute.
No. You sound like you should be like 300 pounds of solid muscle.
So he and his wife, they performed card tricks, simple illusions, and standard magic acts. But he wasn't breaking any new ground. Audiences had seen this before. This was the era of like traveling magicians and snake oil salesmen. You could find someone willing to basically steal your money on any street corner.
Right.
You had to like steal people's money in a new and novel way.
Right.
He needed a gimmick.
Yes.
Enter handcuffs.
And chains.
And chains. There is nothing like a gimmick that is vaguely sexual to arouse the interest of the populace.
Arouse being the solid word used.
Yeah, or just arouse the populace, I suppose. Yeah, just a lot of people watching Houdini with erections.
I mean, it was also the assistants because you put them in spangled, latex.
Yeah, good old Wilhelm. She was looking super hot.
Doing a lot of work.
So Houdini started challenging police officers to lock him up in handcuffs and in holding cells, and then he would miraculously escape. Obviously, there were no miracles involved. His ability to escape was more a testament to the primitiveness of the implements than to the sophistication of his techniques.
Yeah.
Remember, this was the 1800s. Technology was rudimentary.
I was going to say not. Not highly technological.
Also, there wasn't exactly strict quality control at the handcuff factory.
Yeah.
So some of these handcuffs famously could be popped open if you just like whacked them on a rock in the right place.
Right, or just flexed in a weird way and it punk.
From a PBS article called Escape Secrets, quote, Houdini collected and studied locks all his life and claimed that he had, quote, photographic eyes that helped him remember how each type worked and could be opened.
Sure.
unquote.
Photographic eyes. You can also hear him because when he blinked, it clicked.
And then it says this is my favorite part. Quote, most of the time, Houdini used a key hidden in or smuggled into the cabinet or jail cell, either on his person or by an assistant, unquote.
Right. Photographic eyes, 4 keys.
Like, I am not an expert on lock or restraint technology, but I have mastered the technique of opening a lock with a key.
Yeah.
This is less impressive.
No, it's basically what made us latchkey kids was the whole key part.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, like, I love that they're like, he was an expert on locks of every type, and he had devoted his life to studying them. And mostly he just snuck a fucking key in there.
He was like, I'm an expert on this lock, and I cannot pick it. Give me the key.
The hard thing was the physical aspect of like getting the key in position. So a lot of times he would have his arms behind his back and he would have to then maneuver around. So he was very flexible and he would like maneuver around and get the key that was in his cheek and he would have to like spit that into his hand and then undo the key. That was what was impressive.
Right.
But this idea that he could like escape from any lock and he understood them because he knew the mechanisms, that was kind of bullshit.
It's solid propaganda, but it's not, it's not the skill set there.
Now, we know a lot about Houdini's techniques from his own writing. He would publish various books with titles like Magical Rope Ties and Escapes, which I'm imagining pissed off other magicians.
Yeah.
As I understand it, you're not supposed to be giving away the trade secrets.
No.
But it's also not known whether Houdini was totally honest in these books. He may have misled people about some of his tricks in order to bamboozle his imitators. And when he did publish legitimate techniques and some of his secrets, they could very well have been tricks that he wasn't using anymore, and specifically tricks that his competitors were using. So he was like undermining the competition.
Right. Same thing that we do with like, the arms race. We're done using this. You can have it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can be pretty sure he was doing that because when it came to his favorite techniques that he was still using, he would sue competitors who were copying him. So he wasn't giving away all the secrets that were current.
Right.
Now, when it comes to Houdini, it can be hard to separate the myth from reality. And his death is a great example of that. You might have heard the urban legend, which is that he died of a sucker punch, basically. And it is true that Houdini was an amateur boxer and that he occasionally allowed people to punch him in the stomach. Right. He was like to show how his rock-hard abs could not be damaged by human hands. But that is not what actually ended up killing him. Here's the true story. So he was 52 years old. He was on tour. This was 1926. And there was a college student. His name was J. Gordon Whitehead. He went backstage to meet his idol, Houdini, and he asked him if it was true that he could take a strong punch to the belly. And Houdini was like, yes, I can. And Whitehead was like, boom, and just immediately shot to the gut.
Right.
It seems like maybe a real magician would have, seen that coming, or even maybe a decent amateur boxer.
Or at least step back.
Yeah.
Sure, buddy.
I know that feels like telegraphing. If someone asks me, can you take a punch? I'm tense. That makes me tense.
Yeah.
Immediately. I'm prepared.
I mean, you're tense as it is. So you're tense more.
But for whatever reason, Houdini did not tighten up, and he took a shot to the gut and immediately went down. It didn't go well. And this J. Gordon Whitehead guy, he would feel very bad about it for the rest of his life. But he shouldn't have, because that's not what killed Houdini. It turns out Houdini was already kind of feeling sick. He'd had like a little bit of a fever. Maybe that was why he wasn't in his right mind and wasn't able to see it coming.
Right.
But either way, he died a few days later of appendicitis. His appendix burst. And so there was this belief that the kid must have triggered his appendicitis by punching him, but that's not a thing that can actually happen.
No.
But what probably did contribute to it was that he started feeling a lot of stomach pain, and he just assumed that it was because of the punch, and so he didn't go and get the medical attention that actually might have saved his life.
Right.
So he was not killed by a punch to the stomach, but he was kind of killed by a punch to the stomach.
Yeah.
It's like Schrodinger's punch to the stomach. Sort of happened at the same time as it sort of did. And you can just choose depends on how you observe it.
Depends on how you want Harry to die.
I'd say the punch to the stomach was like an accomplice. It sort of facilitated the killing of this man.
Yes.
But I proclaim it guilty. Half guilty.
How the fuck? Where are we going with this? I'm so confused.
So after the passing of Houdini, he died on Halloween, 1926.
Okay.
We get a flood of daredevils who were more like the early 20th century equivalent of those GoPro adrenaline junkies that we have now, the Instagram extreme sports guys. Yeah. These included the wing walkers.
I knew it. I knew these were coming. The biplane and single wing walkers. Yep.
Yeah, so these are the guys who would go out on the wings of planes and perform daredevil, death-defying stunts, like hanging by their teeth or jumping from plane to plane. And people would, I guess, watch with binoculars. I don't know. Like, I want to be a little closer to be able to see the death-defying aspect.
Right. Did he make it? I don't know. I can't really tell. Why did I pay $10 for this?
I feel like it's not super impressive if I have to squint really hard to make out a tiny ant-like silhouette of a guy supposedly doing aerial gymnastics.
Right.
But I think everyone was just waiting for that tiny ant-like silhouette to
move
plummet
away from the other silhouettes.
And sadly, that was not rare. These guys died quite frequently, to the point that the government finally passed a law in 1938 mandating parachutes. So you had to wear a parachute while doing this. And then, strangely, the interest in this spectacle just suddenly declined. At that point, if there was a graph, it plummeted just like a little ant-shaped silhouette.
Yes. Yeah. No one wants to see if you can't actually be in danger.
Okay, so we've gotten through a lot of the daredevils, the danger leg of the stool. You remember my stool metaphor?
I do.
It was very tippy and precarious, and I'm sticking with it for no real reason.
Yeah, and also explaining everything to me as though I'm an idiot. But all right, here we go.
Well, the one leg was the death defiers, the Blondins and Houdinis, but the other leg is the slapstick entertainers.
Yeah.
So let's talk about in the early 1920s, vaudeville was growing in popularity, and a few acts would become so iconic that they graduated to the big screen and became an integral part of American culture. The Three Stooges started out as a comedy act called Ted Healy and His Stooges. Healy was the headliner. The Stooges were his assistants in the original sketches. And they kept interrupting him and like bothering him.
Right.
And then he would abuse them, which is where the slapstick dynamic came from. Healy, though, it seems like maybe he took his role too seriously.
Yeah, you can already see it from the beginning. Like, you're just like, wait, dude, you're just the straight man. Like, you're not what's funny here.
Well, no, he also was an angry drunk.
Oh,
And
good.
so what I mean is the act seems to be also kind of what went on behind the scenes.
Oh, less haha, more e.
Yeah. Shocking that a guy who crafted an entire act on abusing his employees was actually an abusive boss. Who would have thunk it?
Yeah.
But the Three Stooges, they left Healy and they signed with Columbia Pictures in 1934. They would go on to make 190 short films released through 1959.
I used to own a couple of the Three Stooges movies.
What did you like about it?
I mean, just the slapstick. Like,
Yeah.
it's the idiocy of it. And just also, I liked seeing old-timey humor, like what passed for funny back then.
I mean, it still passes for funny. It's like slipping on a banana peel is always going to be funny. Slapping someone in the back of the head is always going to be funny, and that's why Jackass has a new movie coming out. It's benign violation, right? As long as the pain isn't extreme. Jackass would be less funny if one of the guys got their jugular slit.
Right. Although we
all
have,
of a sudden, it's not he anymore, you know?
Right. Although we have watched Johnny Knoxville get one of his arm arteries opened up by a boa constrictor on live television, and he bled all over they were in a ball pit. And he like bled all over it, and they washed out the color so you couldn't see the, bright red of it. But yeah, it's brutal.
Well, there was real damage done. But when you watch Jackass, that's one of the things that really comes through is that there was real danger. And sometimes these guys, things went awry.
Yeah.
And it was expected to go awry. That was part of the funny aspect, right? When Johnny Knoxville has roller skates on and they attach a bunch of bottle rockets to it, and they're making rocket skates. It's not funny if Johnny Knoxville just goes real fast and then like puts his hands up triumphantly.
Right.
It's funny if he flies off the road and lands on his face. So things are going to go wrong.
Right.
But yes, sometimes they went too wrong and he ends up in the hospital. But then at the end, there's always everyone standing around like pointing and making fun of his cast. Right. And he's fine. Like if they're standing around pointing and making fun of his tombstone, I guarantee people aren't laughing as hard.
If they're standing around and pointing at his casket, it's kind of different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the Three Stooges, a great example of comedy based on pain. Fake pain, or at least, again, benign violation, pain without consequence.
Right.
And then that graduates, as I mentioned, to America's Home Videos, which is real pain, but again, without extreme consequence.
Right.
It's not funny if they get castrated.
Right.
It's funny if the thing happens that might castrate them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've talked about the two legs of the stool,
Right.
and we're starting to bring them together. The two legs are, this metaphor doesn't work. What would have been...
What are you doing?
Torturing this metaphor, just like I'm
Johnny Knoxville's balls.
kicking it in the nuts.
Yeah.
But my point is that these two concepts, real danger and fake danger as humor, started to kind of come together and coalesce more and more. And I think before Jackass, maybe the best example of this was Robert Craig Knievel Jr.
Yep.
Do you know who I'm speaking of?
Yeah, his last name kind of.
I know. If he was like Smith or something, you wouldn't get it, but damn it. Robert Craig Knievel Jr. was born on October 17th, 1938, in the blue-collar mining town of Butte, Montana. One thing you'll notice is that very few of these daredevils who like risk their lives come from rich backgrounds.
Easier to risk losing something when you don't have much to lose.
And that's kind of it. Yeah. The other thing you'll notice is a natural aptitude for athletics. We've talked about the gymnasts like Houdini and Blondin. Well, Knievel was a champion skier and a hockey player and also a motocross racer and also an unrepentant criminal.
Okay.
He was, yes.
Didn't know that.
He stole his first motorcycle at 13, and his nickname actually dates back to before he was a stuntman, when the evil was a little more literal. He was once jailed in Montana next to a guy nicknamed Awful Knaffle, and so the pairing of these two future accomplices produced the moniker Evil Knievel.
Okay.
That is my favorite thing ever.
I mean, you are basically living a cartoon at that point.
Right? Evil Knievel and Awful Knaffle. That would have been the perfect Hanna-Barbera cartoon.
Exactly. Hijinks ensue.
I'm so happy. Have you ever seen how his name is spelled, though? Evil Knievel? Do you know what it is?
No.
It's E-V-E-L. And the reason was because when he started to get famous, he didn't want people thinking that he was like the wrong kind of role model for the children.
Got it. Okay.
Because changing that one letter, kids totally get it. They're like, oh, he's not evil, he's Evel. Evel Knievel. And that's exactly how people said it.
Exactly.
As you remember.
Yeah.
Evel Knievel.
Evel Knievel and Cruella de Vil.
That's also the least amount of effort you can put into not being evil.
Absolutely.
Changing one letter of your name. It's fixed.
No, bro. It's not 666. It's 656.
Evel just sounds like a fancy way of being evil.
Yeah, it's very churched up. And also, it's this close to evangelical. So,
No, so maybe that's what he was going for.
Let's hope.
Evangelical Knievel doesn't have the same.
Same ring to it. Sounds like I'm going to be leaving that tent a little early. I can't take this anymore. I'm going.
Oh. Okay, so Evil Knievel, his career started in the 1920s. I did not realize it was that long ago.
No.
He formed a group called Evil Knievel's Motorcycle Daredevils, who would jump over vehicles and crash through walls of burning plywood. When he went solo, he added circus theatrics. So he's jumping over tigers and boxes of snakes. I kind of hate that.
Yeah.
Because you're marketing it as like putting yourself in additional danger.
Yeah.
But really, you're just putting innocent animals in danger of being crushed by your stupid motorcycle.
Yeah, you're endangering animals that can't consent. Like, it's
The
dumbass.
snakes are just chilling in a box.
Yeah.
And then, boom, tire.
I'm more thinking hot engine, but yeah.
That too.
Fuck.
He deserved to get bit. I would bite the shit out of that guy.
Okay. Take the animal rage down a notch, bro. We got to finish the episode.
Why do these guys always putting animals in danger? Throwing bear cubs over waterfalls and fucking landing on snakes?
Because they don't think they're cognizant, which is fine, but it's also not fine. Like, I get why you're doing it. Just stop.
So Evil Knievel learned early that his successes were not necessarily his biggest source of publicity. In 1966, a pretty severe crash resulted in a broken arm and some bruised up and possibly broken ribs, and also in a flood of press coverage. And this is when the light bulb went on, and he realized that sometimes a spectacular failure was better publicity than a successful landing.
Yeah.
And this is what Jackass thrives on.
Yes.
If any of those stunts ever went cleanly, they wouldn't be nearly as entertaining, like we said.
Yeah.
Nothing exciting about succeeding.
Well, I mean, they a couple of them do succeed, but they're built around the premise that even succeeding is failure. So, like, you know, in a girl fight where it's the female kickboxer going up against the Bam Margera's friend, and you just get the shit rocked.
Yeah, but like that's exactly my point. If he had just beat the crap out of that girl, suddenly it's not funny anymore.
Yeah, that's fair. Although there's that part of me that's like, he didn't do the expectations. That's fair.
I guess. It would have been pretty amazing if Johnny Knoxville like KO'd Butterbean.
Oh, bro.
That would have been funny.
Yeah, I would have lost my furry shit.
But speaking of the appeal of failure, the stunt that made Evel Knievel a household name was not successful. He attempted to hurtle over the fountains at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. He came up short on the landing. He hit the safety ramp, the ironically named safety ramp, because then he hit his face on the concrete.
Nah.
He fractured his skull and some other bones. He missed it by that much. He later claimed that as a result of the accident, he spent close to a month in a coma, which was a blatant lie.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. But it made for a great story. He repeated that many times. And Evel Knievel happily capitalized on his boneheaded and bone-broken failure.
Bone jarring, yes.
His next big idea was even more ambitious. He announced that he would jump the Grand Canyon on a motorcycle.
Which is a solid nope from the outset.
That is something a man says who has never visited the Grand Canyon.
Exactly.
So he chose instead, after presumably visiting the Grand Canyon, to launch himself over Snake River in a rocket.
Yeah.
So different place, different propulsion strategy. In other words, something feasible.
Definitely something feasible and less likely to get him fined up the ass by the national park he would be clearly littering on. Like, here's a motorcycle in the middle of your park.
Yeah, I guess maybe that. I don't think that was the reason.
No, I'm sure it didn't help. It didn't hurt.
I think he went there and was like, "Oh,
wrong.
Oops." So once again, Evel Knievel would Wile E. Coyote his ass to complete bumbling failure. He set up on one side of the canyon over the Snake River, and then after a dramatic countdown, the steam-powered Sky Cycle X2 rocket launched over the canyon. Knievel's parachute triggered immediately upon launch, dragging him down to the canyon floor. It was as if a giant godlike hand reached out and just clotheslined the rocket. It tilted sharply downward before slowly and agonizingly drifting to the bottom of the canyon. It is very painful to watch because there's plenty of time to really savor the embarrassment and the failure.
Yeah.
I'll play you a little bit of the clip.
2, 1.
No. Oh, no.
Okay, Eagle, stay with the bird. Stay with the bird. It looks like you're going to go into the canyon. You had a premature shoot. You have a good shoot.
It's 1 in 5, bro. It's fine. Premature shooting. I get it.
You know what? There's nothing wrong with a premature shoot.
Yeah.
All right?
You can recover from a premature shoot.
That's it now. There she goes.
Jesus.
Straight down.
Oh, bro. That is Lawn Dart City.
That is not the trajectory that he was hoping for. This dude just could not stop humiliating himself in front of massive crowds. He was addicted to it. His next triumphant failure would be at Wembley Stadium in England.
Oh, boy.
Quote, roughly 90,000 spectators watched him attempt to leap over 13 single-decker buses. He landed on the 13th bus and crashed hard, breaking his pelvis. He limped to a microphone. Wait. He limped to a microphone and announced his retirement, unquote.
Yes, he fucking did. I just broke my dick. I'm out.
There will be no refunds.
Nope. You've seen it. It happened. I'm out.
Oh, he would not actually retire at this point. He was, addicted to fucking failure. He had to come back and hurt himself some more. Knievel would claim that he eventually broke every bone in his body, that's believable, and he would become a huge advocate for motorcycle helmet use.
Okay.
Do as I say.
And occasionally do.
Not as I.
Yeah. I mean, he always wore a helmet.
He needed to be riding around in one of those fat suits that they use for movies. That's what Evel Knievel needed to be doing.
Yep.
Yeah. So, quote, his career collapsed largely by his own hand. This just gets so much better. In 1977, after his former publicist, Sheldon Saltman, published a book portraying Knievel unflatteringly, Knievel attacked him with a baseball bat.
Whoa.
Breaking Saltzman's arm, while Knievel himself had both arms in casts.
How the fuck? Okay. Highly, clearly thought out. What the fuck?
This man needed to wear a fat suit at all times. He should have been advocating for everyone to wear those sumo suits constantly through life.
You're going to be in a fat suit that is restrained.
He should have been in a straitjacket.
Yep.
Just save this man from himself. He was convicted of assault.
Oddly.
And served about 6 months. Because of his conviction, Harley-Davidson dropped their sponsorship. He fell into alcoholism and depression throughout the 1980s and later admitted that he'd set aside no money to support his family, unquote.
Oh, shit.
So his son would then become a daredevil to follow in his footsteps, probably because the family was now destitute.
Right. And they had no skills in the family.
Sadly, out of desperation.
Yeah.
His son, Robbie Knievel, would extend the legacy of failure.
Nice.
Robbie would endeavor to fulfill his father's greatest unrealized ambition. He would jump the Grand Canyon with a motorcycle. Correction, he would jump over a teeny tiny sliver of a tributary of the Grand Canyon and still manage to fail pretty spectacularly.
Nice.
From an LA Times description of the event, quote, Knievel tumbled off the bike after clearing the landing ramp, coming to rest in a cloud of dust and hay bales set up to cushion a fall. He was examined by paramedics who applied a neck brace and placed him on a gurney.
Well, at least he got to the other side and landed it, kind of.
I hope he triumphantly held up his one uninjured arm
from the gurney.
Oh my God, it's just I love this so much. I don't know why I'm so happy about this portion of it. I just wish that I had been paying attention at this time or was alive for some of this because I would have been disappointed if he fucking succeeded. That would have been such a letdown. These guys were Jackass incarnate. These were the real Jackass. They just could not fucking win. And, even Junior just ate it.
Yeah.
Evil Senior would have been proud.
If he could just put down that bottle.
As he ate his dinner through a straw, wherever he was.
Yeah.
Okay, so all of this brings us to the modern era, by which I mean about 30 years ago, back when you and I were cool.
I beg to differ.
Back when saying people were cool was still cool.
No, it was an immediate and loud red flag that you were not cool.
No, I think back then you could say things were cool. Nowadays, nowadays that's a tell. It's no,
you're old.
Yeah. But we're going all the way back to the year 2000.
CR days.
The year 2000. When a new kind of reality show debuted on MTV. We're going to quickly go through the Jackass crew and how this all came together. Do you know anything about the origin of Jackass?
Yeah, a bit. Because I was one of those idiots because of Joe. I got into CKY and that kind of stuff. Camp Kill Yourself and all that good stuff. So yeah, I knew a little bit about it. I know that Bam was doing his own thing on the East Coast, and I know that guy's voice who I hate, not Johnny Knoxville, but the other guy who was Steve-O, yeah. Steve-O wanted to be a clown but couldn't and was fucking around in college. And
I think he succeeded.
Eventually. But at the time he couldn't. And eventually, because Knoxville and the guy who eventually became the producer were all working at a magazine, Escape magazine, and that's how they all came together. I don't know. It's loose.
You have kind of the basics of a very misguided version of what actually happened.
The story of my life.
So let's start with Johnny Knoxville, because he's the most famous. His last name, of course, not actually Knoxville. You probably figured that out. He is from Knoxville, Tennessee. He was born in 1971, and his parents, presumably with a straight face, named him Philip John Clapp. I would go with Knoxville too.
Every day.
Do not blame the man.
Nope.
Sometimes I get annoyed when people take on a cool moniker or something, but come on, man. What do you can't go.
Can't leave him with the Clap.
You can't be
fucked up.
Can't be Clapp.
Nuh-uh.
So Clapp was actually very athletic when he was younger. He showed some promise as a high school baseball player, but in his heart, he always wanted to be an actor. And he had the looks for it. And that's one thing that I think people just ignore about the Jackasses. They're like, this group of complete idiots somehow became famous. And they're all incredibly good-looking dudes.
And there's maybe one or two of them that are average.
There's Wee Man and a fat guy, and those guys are supposed to be the comedic balance.
There's the guy who gets his tooth pulled out by the Lamborghini, and I don't think he's very attractive. And then there's also the guy who's the shitter, he just poos on everything.
Yeah.
And that guy, he's not very attractive.
He's not ugly, though.
He's a solid average.
He's a decent looking guy. And Johnny Knoxville, the party boy, Bam, these are all
those are attractive.
Traditionally leading man looking dudes.
Yeah.
And so that just always interested me that we're, these are a bunch of lovable, dorky losers or something. And it's no, these are a bunch of hot dudes who do frat boy stuff.
Right.
I do think that they're very lovable somehow, despite being probably high school bullies. Like these are the guys who threw you in the garbage can.
Right.
And you were like, okay.
Okay, guys. Guys, I got to go to my math homework.
I can't stay mad.
God, I want to throw me in a trash can.
So Knoxville moved to California in 1989. At this point, he was still Clapp. And he started smoking weed, surfing, and playing bass guitar with only a sock covering his penis.
Again, I feel these are lies.
Is that Flea again?
Yeah,
God,
it's creeping in. Yeah.
I keep doing that.
Yeah.
No. When Johnny Knoxville moved to L.A., he started working as an extra in the movies. This is true. He actually played Keanu Reeves' double in Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But he became increasingly desperate for a big break. And since none was manifesting, he decided to try to manufacture one himself. So keep all that in mind. That's Johnny Knoxville is now trying to make it big, and he's just sort of on the fringes of Hollywood. Yep. While Knoxville was having tons of success by looking a little bit like Keanu Reeves from a distance through a blurry lens, a very important trend was emerging in America. In the 90s, skateboard culture went mainstream. Tony Hawk suddenly became an absolute icon, and all of these underground skateboarding magazines and videos were starting to break into popular culture. The magazines and videos were irreverent, intentionally abrasive, sometimes blatantly offensive. Very hard to watch if you don't like seeing bones.
Yeah, snapping bones, skin stretching where it shouldn't. Yep.
Now, one of the most popular skate magazines was called Big Brother, and it was gaining some traction via increasingly extreme content. For instance, they had published a step-by-step suicide guide and tutorials on how to make a fake ID.
Nice.
It was edgelord stuff.
Right.
Back then, it felt a little less exploitive because it hadn't been done to death.
Right.
But it was still like try-hard teen boy rebellion, basically. Now, around the same time that Philip John Clapp was looking for his big break, Big Brother magazine had started creating some underground prank videos and skate videos. The first was called Shit. The second would be called Number 2.
Nice.
I sense a theme here. So it's high concept art.
Oh,
you
yeah.
understand?
Yeah.
Raised pinky stuff.
I don't get it.
So Knoxville, Clapp, was not actually working for the magazine, but he was aware of it, and he had this idea. He pitched them an article where he would try out safety equipment.
Right. Self-defense equipment. I remember this.
And the idea was that he would try this out on himself, and then he would publish the results.
Right.
Now, he had envisioned this as a print story, but the editor of the magazine, Jeff Tremaine, he felt that a video version would fit perfectly as a segment in the second Big Brother video release, the one that was
Number
not
2.
called Shit, but meant the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So Knoxville pepper sprayed himself. He stunned himself. He tasered himself. And finally, wearing a bulletproof vest, he shot himself in the chest with a handgun.
Yep.
Everyone at the magazine was thrilled when they got this video. And when I say everyone, that includes several future Jackass cast members who were working for or affiliated with the magazine. For instance, one of the Big Brother contributors was Chris Pontius.
Party boy, right.
He was a lovable, husky oaf who would become famous for whipping off his pants in public and sexually harassing strangers by dancing and grinding against them while wearing only a thong.
Yep.
It's really not okay.
No,
if you
it's assault.
watch it now, that is sex pest behavior. He should be in jail. But somehow it's fucking hilarious. I don't understand it. Another future cast member who was already working for the magazine was Wee Man, Jason Acuna. You might recognize him as the little person of the cast if you didn't get the hint from that very respectful nickname.
Right.
Yeah. And, of course, you recognize the name Steve-O. You brought him up. Probably the most famous of the Jackass troupe other than Knoxville. Steve-O was not working for the magazine, but he was a longtime wannabe, basically. He'd been submitting outrageous videos of himself and trying to get on their radar and get attention. And when Knoxville submitted his video, they were like, I think we have a co-collaborator for you.
We have somebody else who will wear a bulletproof vest and let you shoot them.
So, meanwhile, 2,500 miles away in Pennsylvania, skateboarder Bam Margera and his friend Ryan Dunn were building their own cult following through underground videos featuring pranks, music, and occasionally some skateboarding.
Right.
And those videos you mentioned, Camp Kill Yourself. Do you know what they were named after?
I've heard it. I don't know. I've watched a bunch of them.
It was Bam's brother's band was called Camp Kill Yourself.
Right.
And these videos featured their music. So it was kind of a promotional thing for BAM skateboarding and also for Camp Kill Yourself music. And as we all know, that music just blew up. Who doesn't know the Camp Kill Yourself band? Yeah. That was the real winner in all of this. No, they failed miserably. Yeah. But the videos would include a lot of the stunt staples that became Jackass signatures, riding around in shopping carts and getting, slamming into each other, that type of thing.
Yeah, rolling off of rooftops in barrels, things like that.
Basically just being obnoxious on camera, just annoying the shit out of people, lots of public pranks, and then the harassment of Bam's father, that would become epic.
Yes.
And also his uncle, Don Vito, and his mom. Really, he liked to torture his family. That was just a thing for him.
Yeah. How he survived, I could not have been in a family with him. I would have murdered him very early.
I would have sent him to acrobat school. High wire college for you, you little fucker.
Immediately.
But these Camp Kill Yourself videos, which we did see in college because of our friend who was equally awful, they were doing really well on the underground circuit. They were being sold out of skate shops, and I imagine probably out of like car trunks, like a la MC Hammer. I picture this as like you're in Times Square and someone approaches you with the trench coat, and they whip it open, and
hey, buddy,
and the inside is just lined with VHS tapes. And he's like, you want to see some femur bones?
Maybe the occasional boob. I got your video for you, kid.
Did they have sex in there?
They didn't have sex, but they did occasionally have titties. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I never saw that part. I guess I just always noped out as soon as I saw, a tibia.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of that was real hard to take, but there was also, the occasional thing. They also did dumb shit like watching hardcore pornography while on planes and ordering food from the stewardess who can just barely see the screen and shit like that. So
just annoying people.
Yeah. Being bastards. Cool.
This is what I realized watching the first Jackass video, which I hadn't seen in forever, the first Jackass movie. A lot of it is set in Tokyo, and I was shocked at how much of it involves fucking with Asian people.
Yeah.
It's pretty racist. They play like, ding, 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 ding kind of music while they are putting Japanese people in horrible situations. And they did this because of the cultural differences, because of the fact that like in America, someone would probably punch you. And they're so worried about politeness that they just sort of want to get away from these horrible, obnoxious Americans. And when we went to Japan, remember, I was complaining that like, people just didn't seem as welcoming. And now I understand. It's because of these guys. They see us, we're white Americans, and they're just like, fuck.
Don't you put on a panda suit and come at me, bro.
Yeah. The panda thing, party boy, like rubbing up against people in the middle. And they just, I totally understand now.
Japanese people, we're sorry.
We apologize on behalf of all white American men. We're the worst. These guys are the worst. But, we're complicit. We laughed at it.
We paid.
We did.
Yeah.
I think I saw the movie in the theater.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure I did, actually. Now, the final ingredient, you had the two legs of the stool, and we're going to add a third leg. This isn't, but then the stool would stand up. None of this makes any sense.
Yeah, that's a tripod, which is an actual thing.
This is the Jackass of metaphors.
Right.
The final ingredient was Spike Jonze. He was really the most important element when it came to eventually getting Jackass on MTV. In order to sell a TV show, there has to be an adult in the room. And despite his name, he was the adult. He was the celebrated director. His original name had been Adam Spiegel, but he went by Spike Jonze. He started out by founding a skate magazine and then making a bunch of BMX videos and sort of extreme skateboarding content. But then he quickly went mainstream and he did a lot of music videos. He did, if you remember the Beastie Boys, Sabotage.
Right. He did that. And didn't he also, he organized all of that extreme cartoon shit too. Wasn't he responsible for the cartoon collection where it was like Godzilla versus Bambi? And then like I seem to remember seeing little playbills that had like, come to this extreme cartoon festival, and it was like by Spike Jonze or.
No, that was Spike and Mike.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I used to love to go to those. My dad would take me when I was probably too young for that, but and I blame him for so much of my life now. But we went
like any mature adult.
We went and saw Spike and Mike's Twisted Festival of Animation.
That's right.
Or Festival of Twisted Animation.
Something like
one
that.
of those.
Yeah,
you get the idea.
Yeah,
it wasn't The Little Mermaid.
No,
let's say that.
Yeah.
Nope. This was Spike Jonze, though, did a lot of kind of counterculture stuff. He did the movie Being John Malkovich, which I very much love, even though it's bonkers.
Yeah, I don't like it, but it's full of everything I hate in any situation. So I was like, no, I hate this movie.
But he had been sort of on the outskirts of this culture. He was affiliated with the magazine. He'd shot some stuff for them. He was well known among these circles. It was kind of how you just have a group of friends and then like one of them gets famous and he sort of drags everyone else along.
Right.
And that was Spike Jonze.
Very entourage.
Yeah, that's how I think of it. So in 1999, Jeff Tremaine, the editor of Big Brother, and John Clapp, the artist formerly known as John Clapp, and the artist formerly known as Adam Spiegel, who was going by the much cooler Spike Jonze and does not look like a guy named Spike Jonze, by the way.
I don't know.
He looks like an Adam Spiegel.
He looked, the first time I ever saw him on, I was like, oh, that's Spike Jonze. I was like, oh, okay, I can see it.
Really?
And then,
Looks like a
when
dork.
when you said Adam Spiegel, I was like, oh, yeah. Nope, that works too.
Anyway, they all assembled a rough package of footage and they pitched it to MTV. And for some reason, maybe there were no lawyers in the room.
Yeah.
The MTV executives greenlit this show. And they even allowed the guys to use a bunch of pre-recorded footage that had already been shot for Big Brother. That first season, there were a few new things, but a lot of it was like old stuff that they already had.
Right.
And this stuff was pretty rough and unfiltered.
I think there was like skate jumping the LA River and like a couple of other things that they'd done that was new, but otherwise, yeah, it was just a bunch of
I don't remember. I didn't watch too much of the first season. I watched a little bit of the very first episode, and then I watched the movies. The movies are when they super broke through.
Right.
The first episode of Jackass aired on April 12th, 2000. It was titled Poo Cocktail. So it was, right away.
Knew what you were going in for.
You can't say you didn't know what was going to happen. Obviously, there was an immediate moral panic based on the content and the idea that kids were going to try these stunts at home.
And they would.
Which they totally would. But that's just natural selection. Again,
we need these people to self-select so that Darwin can rest. He gets tired.
Now, the original show ran less than 2 years. I didn't remember that. I thought it was a long-running show. It wasn't.
No.
It was chased off the small screen by triggered parents. It got through 3 seasons, less than 2 years. But that was the best thing that could have happened to the Jackass crew.
Yeah.
Because this was never built to be a TV show. This was R-rated. And so when they jumped to the big screen, they could just take off the training wheels and the pads and the helmets and go full Jackass.
Yeah. You paid you $10. Now you get to see the poo and vomit.
And that pretty much brings us to where we are. The Jackass crew continued to release movies. Johnny Knoxville became sort of a crossover star. He's been in a few mainstream films. He was in Dukes of Hazzard many years ago, something called The Ringer that I didn't see. But those were legit Hollywood productions.
Yep.
The man was not a skateboarder either. He was the only one who wasn't, he has no skateboarding skills.
No, he was just perfectly willing to fuck himself up on camera.
Yeah, he was just a good-looking guy who was willing to take it in the nuts. Yeah. And that's all I got.
All right. Well, I feel edumacated. As I demonstrated, I knew like a quarter of that in jumbled variety, but yeah, sweet. Usual things. Oh, do we have reviews? Do we have new peoples?
We have a couple new minions.
Nice.
Hannah just became a minion. And then Melissa Ardith also. It sounds like an artist with a lisp.
Yes. And we're not making fun of you.
I'm not going to do it.
No.
But you're thinking it.
Yep. All you artists out there.
Yeah, then you did it.
Yep.
That's why we get canceled.
All right. So, the usual thing. Please go to the Discord. Please join up and also go to the Patreon for just $3 to $5. You can help us do better things and more of what you love. If you loved this, if you didn't, why are you here? And then otherwise, and forever after,
Knowledge is power.
Sleep is overrated.